Lakurawa terrorists kill 34 in Kebbi communities. A mock PDP chairmanship candidate steps down for APC candidate. Federal government seals platoon miners site after death of 37. On a foreign scene, UN probe finds evidence of genocide in Darfur city of El Fasher. Good evening, this is News Update on Trust TV. I am Shamaka Wafo. Thank you for joining us. At least 34 people were reportedly killed on Wednesday in a series of coordinated attacks by suspected Lakurawa militants across communities in Arewa local government area, Kebbi State. The attacks, which occurred from morning through the afternoon, targeted multiple villages, leaving families devastated and forcing residents to flee for safety. Security analyst Pakistan described the assaults as one of the deadliest single-day incidents in recent months in the area. The hardest hit community was Mamunu, where 16 people were killed. 5 youths were killed in Awashaka, 3 residents in Masama, and 2 people each in Gorindina, Kamzo, and other communities. By nightfall, residents across the wider Kangiwa axis remained gripped by fear amid concerns of further attacks. The Nigerian Armed Forces has reportedly carried out fresh arrests over an alleged plot to overthrow President Bola Tinubu's administration. Among those detained is Major H. Yusuf of the Nigerian Army, a member of the 57 Regular Corps, who recently completed his senior course at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji. He is being held alongside other suspects in connection with what authorities have described as a coup plot, although details of the alleged conspiracy have not been made public. Investigations into the matter have reportedly been ongoing since 2025, with no formal trial initiated so far. Meanwhile, families of the detained officers have raised concerns over what they describe as deliberate delay tactics in the handling of the case. They claim the accused have been held in custody for nearly 5 months without access to relatives or legal counsel, a situation they argue undermines due process and the right to a fair hearing. At least 5 people have been killed and 4 others injured following a reprisal attack by bandits in Zamfara state. Security sources say the violence was triggered after a bandit kingpin reportedly sent a resident to retrieve a phone battery. The resident was allegedly attacked during the errand and the battery seized, raising suspicion of foul play. The kingpin was said to have shot and killed the resident in response. Angered by the killing, members of the local community reportedly retaliated and killed the kingpin, sparking further violence that left several people dead and others injured. Security operatives are said to be monitoring the situation to prevent further escalation. Across Maiduguri, residents usually experience intense heat and bright sunshine between February and May. But in recent days, the weather has taken a different turn, with a hazy and dusty atmosphere enveloping the metropolis. While residents say such conditions have occurred in previous years, many insist this one feels unusual. Trust TV's Beatrice Kuretsi reports.
For the past 3 days, Maiduguri has witnessed a hazy and dusty atmosphere. The city appears less busy with fewer people on the streets. Some residents are seen wearing face masks as they go about their daily activities. Residents who spoke to Trust TV expressed mixed reactions, sharing their surprise at the sudden change in weather and how it is affecting their daily routines.
Da mun yi tunanin cewa sanyi ya wuce, to amma sai gashi ya dawo.
This weather came unexpectedly because we had already experienced the cold season. The hazy dust makes it difficult to recognize someone even when they are close to you. I couldn't go out because it was too dusty, and this affected my work today. We have seen this before, but not at this time of the year. We just pray for the best. It is a bit of relief for those observing the Ramadan fast.
Before, by this time, is heat and sun, but we thank God with that this year, cool day and dust.
So you like and pass the heat?
I like and pass heat very well because heat of Maiduguri is no good.
While some residents say the cooler atmosphere may lessen the intensity of Ramadan fast, others predict it could signal an early start to the rainy season. We usually experience extreme heat before the rainy season begins. That is what determines whether rainfall will come early or not. I am okay with this weather because it will not make the Ramadan fast too difficult for us. Petroscurity, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Moving to political matters, in another dramatic shift less than 48 hours to Saturday's Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, the People's Democratic Party PDP chairmanship candidate for the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, Zadna Dantani, has withdrawn from the race to support the All Progressives Congress APC candidate Christopher Zaka Mekalangu. Dantani said his decision to step down was after intervention by the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Yesom Wike, ordered that he was also submitted a letter of withdrawal to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
I'm the candidate of the upcoming election in the People's Democratic Party, but I want to sincerely appreciate everyone who supported us around. And by the grace of God, we are doing it not because of our personal interests. And I'm standing to tell my people in Abuja Municipal Area Council that as a candidate who was standing for this election, have today agreed, based on the intervention of the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Yesom Wike, as a man, as our leader in the party and the leader in FCT, he have also called my attention to let us know that this is an election that is the election that we are into, we are not for war. And this is a brotherhood election. And including my stakeholders, I've consulted widely. And by the grace of God, we have agreed that this election, we are no longer going to contest with our brother, Honorable Christopher Zaka Mekalangu.
Over in Rivers State, the House of Assembly has suspended impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. The decision was taken during Thursday's plenary amid mounting legal and political hurdles, with lawmakers opting to await the outcome of ongoing court cases and consultations. The impeachment process began in January of 2026 when 26 lawmakers signed a notice alleging 7 counts of gross misconduct against Fubara under Section 188 of the Constitution. The allegations presented by Majority Leader Major Jack during a sitting presided over by Speaker Martin Zamwewule included demolition of the Assembly complex, extra budgetary spending, withholding funds meant for the Assembly Service Commission, and disobedience of a Supreme Court ruling on legislative financial autonomy. However, the process stalled after the Rivers State Chief Judge Simeon Chibuzo Amadi declined to constitute the mandatory 7-member investigative panel, citing a subsisting interim injunction issued by the Rivers State High Court. Funding constraints are threatening justice sector reforms and critical infrastructure delivery in Nigeria. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, says despite recording key reforms, persistent non-release and inadequate allocation of funds are slowing progress. At the same time, the Minister of Interior has revealed zero capital releases for 2 fiscal years. Here's more in this report. Appearing before the House Committee on Justice in Abuja, Lateef Fagbemi outlined achievements under the Federal Ministry of Justice. He cited reforms in criminal justice administration, strengthened counter-terrorism initiatives, progress toward exiting the Financial Action Task Force grey list, and improved asset recovery programs. Fagbemi explained that while overhead performance reached 82% within 10 months, capital implementation stood at just 12% after a non-cash backed warrant of 869.6 million naira was issued out of 6.74 billion naira allocated. He added that no funds have been released for 2025 capital projects.
I'm here to report that we have prepared a brief which has been circulated detailing the performance of the ministry's 2025 budget, as well as providing the basis for the budget proposal for 2026, which is aimed at deepening ongoing justice sector reforms.
He presented a proposed 2026 budget estimate of 23.68 billion naira, covering personal overhead and capital expenditure. Committee Chairman Olumide Oshoba assured the lawmakers would scrutinize the proposal and strengthen oversight to ensure accountability and adequate funding.
We expect the ministry and its agencies to provide comprehensive and justified proposals detailing financial needs aligned with the strategic objectives for 2026. Candid performance reports offering an honest appraisal of 2025 achievements, challenges, and lessons learned. Forward-looking strategic initiatives outlining innovative programs to address contemporary legal challenges. This committee is resolute in its duty.
In a related development, Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo disclosed that the ministry recorded 0% capital budget release for both 2024 and 2025. Speaking during a budget defense before a joint committee of the Senate and House of Representatives, Tunji-Ojo said the lack of releases stalled project execution and infrastructure development across agencies. Despite the setback, he maintained that the ministry remains financially disciplined, consistently remitting internally generated revenue into the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
So I want to assure you, Daddy, that we will go back. We will have a standard operating procedure, an SOP, that will be able to manage this process, such that when we come back here, anybody who wants something will know this is the process I need to take. And once that process is there, then benchmarking becomes easy.
Senate Committee Chairman Adams Oshomole described the non-release of approved funds as a major setback to institutional performance and service delivery.
We are very proud of what we are doing in the Ministry of Interior. All the innovations introduced the past Abuja airports and now coming in. I can see a couple of things that are changing in attitude.
As deliberations continue on the 2026 budget, lawmakers say addressing funding gaps will be critical to sustaining justice reforms and strengthening national institutions. You're also on to news update on Trust TV and return from the break. We go over to Plateau State, where the federal government has sealed a mining site after death of 37 people. More news when we return. Please to stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a recap of our top stories. We told you that Lakurawa terrorists killed 34 in Kebbi communities. Also told you that Armak PDP chairmanship candidate steps down for APC candidate. Two more stories. The federal government has sealed a mining site in Zurakwa, a local government area of Plateau State, following a gas poisoning incident that claimed at least 37 lives and left 26 others hospitalized. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, ordered the immediate closure of areas under mining license 11 810, operated by Solid Unit Nigeria Limited and owned by Abdullahi Dan China. According to a statement by the minister's spokesperson, Shegun Tomori, preliminary findings indicate that the victims, mostly young artisanal miners aged 20 to 35, inhaled lethal gases including carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and lead oxide in a poorly ventilated underground pit at the abandoned lead site. The statement added that the company had reportedly ceded the pit to local miners following community demands for empowerment, unaware of the toxic risk posed by residual minerals. The miners entered the confined space and were rapidly suffocated. Alake later paid a condolence visit to Governor Caleb Mutfwang, expressing solidarity with the people of Wase over what he described as an irreparable loss. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Kano Zonal Office, has invited senior officials of Jigawa Savings and Loans, including members of its board of directors, over alleged financial misconduct. The officials, led by the bank's managing director, Bambandi Isa Gumel, reportedly spent several hours at the EFCC office on the first day of Ramadan, responding to investigators' questions. Sources say the development followed a formal invitation letter from the EFCC's Kano office requesting the managing director to appear alongside selected management staff at about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, February 18, 2026. The anti-graft agency also demanded detailed account statements of the bank from January 1, 2024 to date. While some of the officials were later allowed to leave, others were reportedly still in custody as of the time of filing this report. Gunmen have abducted and killed the traditional ruler, Kehinde Jacob Falodun, the Alagamo of Agamo community in Akure North local government area of Ondo State. Police authorities confirmed that 6 armed men stormed the monarch's residence on Wednesday and took him away. His death was later confirmed. The spokesperson of the Ondo State Police Command say a team of detectives have been deployed to the area to strengthen security and track down those responsible for the killing. Residents were urged to remain calm and provide useful information to assist ongoing investigations. Christians in Kaduna joined millions around the world to mark Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Lenten season. Beyond the traditional observance of prayer and fasting, worshippers used the solemn occasion to call for unity and an end to insecurity in the country. Here's more.
Ash Wednesday marks the start of the 40-day Lenten season in the Christian calendar, a period of reflection, repentance, and spiritual renewal. In his homily, Reverend Father Michael Umatu urged Nigerians to embrace love, forgiveness, and unity, especially in the face of growing insecurity across the nation.
It is no news that we are facing a lot of challenges, especially on insurgency, and I call on Christians to use this opportunity and make use of it very well, especially to pray to God and present especially our country Nigeria to God, because based on our own human strength and power, we cannot be able to defeat insurgency, but trusting in the mercy of God, that God is going to help us in this season of Lent. And so we continue to pray and offer our prayers, especially in this season of Lent, that through our fasting and our praying, that God will give us the grace and God will subdue all that we face as a country in Nigeria.
Thank you. Worshippers say this year's observance carries deeper meaning as communities continue to grapple with security challenges.
Keep on committing the country unto God, especially this period. And as it is, both Christians and Muslims are being killed. And again, both Christians and Muslims start their fasting today. So, all of us should raise this country unto God, continue to pray to Him. And our government should do something about it, because prayers without good work can't help us. our government should also help us and take care of it, because they can do it. If the willpower is there, they can do it. But we keep on praying to God that God will touch their hearts so that allow us to live in peace.
It's not only that it is during this period, but we'll try to abstain ourselves from anything that would demarcate us from the will of God. We'll try to follow the way of Christ this period, abstain ourselves from so many things that cause us to sin and cause God to be annoyed with us.
This is not the first time the Christian and Muslim are celebrating. I think the other time, some years back, we celebrated, I think, Easter or Christmas together. So, like this period of Lent for the Catholics, even the Muslim, we are encouraged to do more of almsgiving. We are encouraged to reach out to our neighbors. We are encouraged to reach out to people that are vulnerable in the society.
Kaduna State has in recent years faced security concerns, making calls for unity particularly urgent. Religious leaders emphasized that Lent is not only a personal spiritual journey, but also a time for national reflection, urging citizens and leaders alike to commit to justice, dialogue, and peaceful coexistence. As the Lenten season begins, many hope that prayers offered will translate into concrete steps toward unity and lasting peace in the country. Christian faithful will continue to fasting, prayer, and acts of charity throughout the Lenten season, which will culminate in Easter celebrations. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
And the business scene, the Osun State Commander of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has arrested 2 men over alleged involvement in electricity meter tampering and illegal power vending. The suspects, identified as Babatunde, aged 46, and Akin, aged 40, were apprehended following an investigation into suspected fraudulent activities linked to a prepaid meter belonging to a customer of the Borno Electricity Distribution Company (IBEDC). According to a statement issued on Wednesday by the command spokesperson, Kehinde Adeleke, the arrest followed a formal complaint lodged by the affected electricity consumer. The NSCDC explained that the customer raised the alarm after his prepaid meter reportedly developed a fault that prevented him from loading recharge units. Providing further details, the state commandant, Igbalo Wole Shotiyo, said preliminary findings pointed to deliberate interference with the device. He stated that the 2 suspects allegedly worked together to manipulate the prepaid meter in question. On a foreign scene, a United Nations investigation into the fall of El Fasher in Western Sudan has found that acts committed during its prolonged siege and eventual capture may amount to genocide. The inquiry examined events surrounding the takeover by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF, which seized the city in late October after an 18-month blockade that cut off food, medical supplies, and humanitarian aid. According to the UN fact-finding mission, tactics used during the siege, followed by widespread violence after the city fell, indicates a deliberate campaign against specific ethnic communities. Documented abuses included killing, sexual violence, torture, and forced disappearances, and the systematic denial of humanitarian relief. The report states that members of the Zagawa and Fur ethnic groups were primarily targeted, raising concerns that the acts were carried out with intent to destroy those communities in whole or in part. Sports scene, French Ligue 1 club Olympique de Marseille have ended their pursuit of Nigerian national team coach Eric Chelle and have appointed former club captain Habib Beye as their new head coach. Chelle had been among the candidates considered to replace Roberto De Zerbi, but is no longer in contention for the role. The former Mali manager, who currently has an existing contract with Nigeria, recently changed representation, parting ways with the agent who brokered his appointment with both Mali and Nigeria in favor of French-based agency wilder sport. Marcel have instead moved decisively for Bayer, reaching an agreement in principle before confirming his appointment. The former Senegal international has signed an 18-month contract marking a return to the Stade Velodrome, where he once wore the captain's armband. Bayer now faces the challenge of restoring stability and momentum at a club with significant expectations and a demanding support base. And that we end the news at this time. For more of our news programs, documentaries, follow our social media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us at this time. Good evening.